Sketchbooks. A place for an artist to draw, paint, and just be creative. Sketchbooks are essential in any artist's career, and one of their uses, at least according to uni, is to show an artist's potential. So feast your eyes upon my potential, and let's take a look at my sketchbook. Now, I chose quite an old sketchbook for this video. Well, maybe not old, but it was done a while back and before I really started improving and was kind of at a stalemate with my art. This sketchbook let me overcome that, and I think it's a really important part of my art journey and as such really important to show. Let's get started then. The first page starts off pretty average, at least in my mind. Some simple figure sketches and hand studies. Dislike this page, but I think it's simple. Appealing, but simple. It's just not really a page in which I learned a lot. I chose really static poses, which I think is more a statement on my skill level than I'd like it to be. But overall, it looks nice, so. Anyways, the next page is more interesting. This was one of my first attempts at a still life. And I think even though I wasn't really paying attention to it, I did learn a lot about values and whatever you learn in a still life. Values were the only thing that came to mind. I learned a lot about values from this piece. The skull itself is a bit too flat for my liking, but otherwise, this page is pretty cool. Moving on, we've got more figure sketches. Also, how did this page get so smudged? And what's with that anatomy? It's so bad. Even YouTube won't censor it. Okay, that's an exaggeration. But where are the muscles? If you think this looks pretty good, wait until I show the stuff at the end. Because I really improved in anatomy over the span of the sketchbook. So get ready for some half naked men. Please don't take that out of context. Also, I completely disregarded everything else on this page. But oh well. Next page is we've got some thumbnail sketches and another still life. And in case you were wondering, these very blurred thumbnail sketches are for a painting I did at the start of the year. The reason I'm pointing this out is something you'll see 2 pages later. This page is the context for that page. Keep it in mind. Switching our focus to the still life, I actually set this up in real life, which means I had to actually think about what I wanted compositionally. Granted, I didn't really do that much thinking, but it was still a useful experience. And I did struggle with a lot of the glass elements of it, but overall it turned out pretty good. Okay, so we've got ballerina slash value study here. I don't know if I can explain this any better. So we're moving on. Now, I know this looks like occult worship, but I swear there's a reasonable explanation. Which, if you remember, 2 pages ago. This is the reasonable explanation for both this page and the thumbnail sketches. It was a painting I entered into a competition. I didn't win, by the way. So I put a lot of planning into it, which resulted in whatever cult this is. But all in good fun. That said, I forgot how much worse the next page was. I don't think I'm denying the allegations with this one. Jokes aside, I did actually learn a lot about feet with this page. Not a sentence I thought I would say. Let's just move on. Here we've got a little animatic plan that never really came into fruition. I wanted to make one of Would You Fall in Love with Me Again from Epic with eventually the ratio from Honkai Star Rail. But, I never really do the things I set out to do. This is just a storyboard I had, but that's honestly as far as I ever got in terms of progress. May have done a couple frames, but that's it. Next page, we've got some expression studies. I'm not sure how, but the level of skill fluctuates with each drawing. Oh, and here's more stuff for that failed animatic. Just some headshots, that's a weird word, of aventurine and ratio. Also, I just realized how much more effort I actually put in this sketchbook because the ones I had since them barely have any colored pages in them, let alone finished pages. Moving on, we have still life number 3. I tried using the grid method for this, but I kind of gave up halfway. It's not bad, but nothing special. It adds variety to the sketchbook, which my sketchbooks now are in very much need of. Speaking of variety, we've got some urban sketching here. Funny story about this page. I did this during an online class, and somehow I got caught. How I got caught in an online class is honestly a mystery, even to me. But that happened. It makes for a funny story, I guess. Next page is ballerina number 2, and 3, and 4, and however many are on here. The big ballerina is kind of stiff, like all my other figure sketches in the sketchbook, but I guess the concept of the page is interesting enough to make up for it. It looks nice. So, next page. Beherda and eyes. Don't ask, I have no idea. Ooh, this is actually a fun page. Or pages, actually. It was one of those templates where they give you a prompt and you draw something for it. Definitely got some recognizable faces here, if you're a part of the fandoms I am. I would like to say I would switch Fine On and Sunday if I redid this. Also, Adventure looks sick here, just saying. Although, he looks great, wherever. Skipping over some pages because I don't want this video to be hours long, we've got this big nose value study. I did this mostly without a sketch. Don't blame me, alright? But yeah, value studies are definitely a valuable experience for artists of all skill levels. Even though this one ended up a bit disproportionate, it was still a learning experience, so I would definitely recommend. The sketchbook from here gets a tad bit boring, so I'll try to skip over to the interesting stuff. Here are some portrait sketches, which were actually the first of their kind I've done. I think this really allowed me to practice stylization and help develop the style I have now. Some more on the next page that aren't my favorite, but this is another practice I would recommend. Just finding reference images and stylizing them really helps you develop your style. Next page. Pages actually, we've got more figure sketches and improved ones at that. Improved to the point you can't see them because they might incite the wrath of YouTube. Moving on, we've got an unfinished page. Honestly shocked that's the first I've seen in here. And then eyes. And my first attempt at semi-realism with alcohol markers. I still can't decide whether I like this page or hate it. Here's a fun page I did, drawing my OZ Mura in different situations or scenarios. I think this can really help develop your OC character and allow you to get used to drawing them. They're also hella fun, so there really isn't an excuse not to do one. And somehow this video has become a way for me to push y'all to practice. Here's a page where I can't preach anything about you. And the start of my shipping obsession. Literally, my entire Instagram is just ships nowadays, and I cite this as the start of it all. On that note, follow me on Instagram. You can find all my sketches there and don't need to wait for these sketchbook tours, which honestly could take forever. Like this one. I had that plan like 4 weeks ago. I got sick in between somehow, and we are here now, so yippee! To contrast that passionate scene you just witnessed, here are some cute animals. I can't draw animals, so these cutesy ones are all you ever get from me. Wait, that's a lie. Like can't exist. To add to the wilderness theme, here is a sketch I did in the park. I can't tell if the sketchbook actually has variety of, or if it's just some random stuff I've drawn on a whim. Oh God, what is this cursedness? Next page, next page. Okay, I think this establishes it. This sketchbook is just a random mess. I don't know what I was thinking with these circles, but they exist. More fun stuff. We have a character created through one of those TikTok art challenges. I don't know how I feel about the green skin, but they look sort of cool. Sort of. At the very least, they haven't been traumatized. Yet. Anyways, here are some portrait studies, and I think they're really an improvement from the last ones I showed you. The girl on the top left is my favorite. I really nailed that expression and the way the lines flow. As much as it sounds like I'm just glazing myself, I am actually really surprised by past me here because I was not expecting something like this after that monstrosity. To add to that pride in myself, I've got more portrait studies, and then to immediately crush that pride are my hand studies. To be fair to me, they aren't actually that bad, but they don't look as elegant and slender as I'd like them to look. And there are some anatomical errors, I think, but okay overall. Next, we have more figure sketches, and I think I'm starting to get that dynamism down. Just ever so slightly. Of course, with improvement comes whatever this is. Everything else on this page looks fine. And then this guy here is here to jump scare you. Like, what the heck? More jump scares, but let's ignore that in favor of these fabulous eye studies. I'm actually really happy with how these turned out. They lean more towards realistic, but that's a good thing because you can't break the rules before learning them. That is to say, learning realism is important even if you usually style your drawings. The next page is some world building from yours world. I won't lie, half of these subs were randomly drawn in to fill space, but I'm happy with how it turned out overall, and maybe it'll give me a better idea of the world when I actually start writing her story. Whenever that's gonna happen. Uh, am I allowed to show this on YouTube? Let's just move on. We've got the Amphorious Trio, and I'm not gonna lie, the proportions are a bit off here, but it's the Amphorious Trio. They can never look bad. Except when I draw them sometimes, but you know. And more hands! This page is a mixture of good and bad, but regardless, it was very educational, a testament to the statement that practice makes perfect. And if you can't draw something, you should learn it. Unlike a certain someone. Oh God, what happened to you, Vinod? What have you done, past me? Deformities aside, this was actually a pretty useful page. They are basically notes I took from a video about character interactions. Just ignore the drawings and focus on kind of the lessons learned. And notice how the character's expression, positioning, and physical contact all play important in creating convincing character interaction. I am totally not reading off a script right now. The next page is somewhat of a style study. I tried to replicate the Honkai Star style, but I never really took that further, so it's something, I guess. more disproportionate faces, and we've started the Naxa phase. But not before the anatomy phase. Honestly, they may have been simultaneous, but let's not focus too much on that and look at the comparison between this drawing and the drawing from the very beginning. Look at that improvement! Oh, and we're back to Anaxa. I may have had a problem. Okay, here are more anatomical sketches once again compared to the ones I did on the one of the first pages. I'm honestly really happy. I don't usually see this level of improvement within a single sketchbook, and I'm really proud of myself for that. This was probably the highlight of the sketchbook. But we have to move on. We've got some ship doodles just to show what I've learned with the character interaction study. I got the start of another anatomical study, and oh god, not again. Okay, the allegations of this one. We were on a roll! What the heck is this? Okay, moving on. The final page in the sketchbook. I really should have ended this earlier, on an actually good note. Before that. But, anyways, here are some doodles done with a pen. If you can't tell, I did this with only a pen. It started off fine, but if you can't tell by that drawing, things kind of took a turn. We did end on a pretty good note on this page, but those two are not making it onto my list of actually good artworks. But let's not linger on that. We are done with the whole sketchbook. That was honestly a bit of a speed run at the end there because I kind of just wanted to finish the video. Not that I don't like being here and recording this, it's just I'm tired, I'm busy. Those sound like excuses, but I do have a life, contrary to popular belief. I'm not gonna lie, I was honestly scared to show my sketches at first, as they really aren't the best, but I thought that showing all my work would be more beneficial and inspiring than just showing my best. I chose the sketchbook because the improvement was quite evident and it had enough variety for me to joke around and actually talk about stuff. I honestly had a lot of fun making this video, and seeing my own improvements is very inspiring, even for me. I hope it's inspired you as well and that you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time, whenever that is. Bye!